Spooky. I don't know what that was. Here's a video from Saturday's Tea Party held in Orlando, Florida. It was. I saw one report when I was down in Florida. There are hundreds of people there. There were like 5,000 people there, and this is not the only Tea Party this weekend. Now, the Dow was up huge today. What was it, David? Up 500 points?
It was up close, right on the cusp of 500.
497. By the way, this is David Asman. He is the host of America's Nightly Scoreboard on the Fox Business Network. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about what happened, but first I want to introduce you, America, to what I believe is happening in our country. If we can look at all sides, do we have shots of all sides? Here's the solution. Everybody's talking about the solution today. Oh, the solution, we've really done it, it's great. But on the other side of the solution is the problem. Here's the problem on this. Can we show this side? Can we get that, Harry? Here is the problem on the other side. There it is. Solution on this side, problem on the other. Then we have over here, we have the taxpayer. Here's the taxpayer. And on the other side of the taxpayer is, look at the children, I just love all the little children. Okay, now here's how this works. Just like in Jenga, if you are trying to solve something, a problem, the solution, I think, in this is connected. The problem and the solution are connected. If you look at the taxpayer, how much can the taxpayer actually carry? It's connected to our children, because if we ain't paying for it, our children will. The question is, the game that we're playing right now is, how many of these can be taken out? How many of these problems and solutions can you slide out before the whole darn thing collapses? This is our economy. This is you, the taxpayer, and your children's future. The solutions might sound great, but everything is connected. So, let's, I'm going to take a piece out here.
All right.
I got one for the problem.
The problem actually is that the people who are taking it out are the privileged class. They're the ones who are getting the bailout. They're the ones who are removing the links that support the whole foundation.
Well, they're the ones, go ahead and play. They're the ones that are actually, be very careful, it's very delicate.
There we go.
They're the ones that have caused it in the first place.
Yes, and they're the ones that are still, today, the market reaction, which was so positive, almost 500 points to the positive side, was because the bank stocks did so well. Careful now.
Okay, now, all we're doing is we're just pulling out the things. I mean, David, we're just...
All right.
Oof.
I kind of like to be distracted when
I know. We're doing... first you had the housing bill, which was $300 billion. Then the $700 billion in TARP. Then the $800 billion that Obama signed in. Then the budget of $3.1 trillion. Mm-hmm. Last week, they monetized the debt for the very first time. Ooh, I'm not going to pull that one out. They monetized the debt for the very first time, which was another $1 trillion. And today, explain what they've done and why Wall Street loves it.
Well, before I explain what's done, the one thing that all these things have in common is they benefit the privileged class, either the folks inside the Beltway or the folks inside Wall Street. And they work together in tandem, hand in glove, in order to support each other, because money, a great deal of money is involved, a great deal of money has already been gambled, and they want to make sure that they can gamble without paying a price. They've already gambled hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars, and they've backed up those gambling bets with credit default swaps that AIG was passing out to trillions of dollars. What this is all about...
He's stalling. He knows he's going to
What this is all about, Glenn Beck, is trying to make sure that they're gambling. You say you don't gamble. They did. Wall Street did.
Oh, no.
And Washington did. And what they are trying to do is to make sure that all of their gambling debts are paid for by, guess who? The taxpayer.
And our children. Here's a little fact for you, America. As you're looking at this, remember, are you in the stock market today? You're up 500 points or whatever if you're in the stock market. Maybe your 401k. Get it out. This is, you may disagree with me here, this is craziness. This is a bear rally. This is, smart people, I think, are going to take their money out because it's not, it just can't, we're spending too much.
The one thing I think you're discounting, though, and I don't think you should, is the fact that the market is ultimately a representation, unless it's completely taken over by the government, and it may eventually be taken over by the government, does represent a lot of businesses, and the economy of America really does represent the American people, and you can never discount it. Sometimes they can overwhelm the worst possible thing that the government can do to it, and this is one of the worst things we have ever done to it in the past
year. Here's why he says that. So I can just bring this into line. Why this is one of the worst. One of the worst things that's ever been done to it is because your children now, a family of 3, they have just committed you to a debt of $112,000. I'm sorry, 116 goes up every minute. $116,000. That's what your family owns. Now, David, what was the problem that we got into? We got into this problem partly because everybody was making loans that they couldn't afford. They were taking out way too much money.
And Wall Street was betting on loans that people couldn't afford. Wall Street was leveraging that. It means betting on top of these things, making a reverse pyramid that was teetering on that little point, which is about to collapse. And nobody wants to take, the rich people, the well-connected, the privileged people don't want to take a loss for it.
And they don't
want to take a haircut.
And here's the thing. They didn't ask a lot of these people if even for, can you verify your income? Well, did they ask you to verify your income? They didn't even. They've already got your name and address. They're just sending you the bill. For everybody else, let me tell you something, America. All these people, all they have done the whole time is just play a game.
Well, what happened today is kind of interesting because they have even put the taxpayer, I didn't think it was possible to put the taxpayer even on a greater hook than they already are. But essentially what happens now is the banks get this huge relief. All of those bad assets that they've had, I forgot I was still playing the game, all those bad assets that they have are now being essentially guaranteed by the taxpayer. The taxpayer is now.
David, how much are we on the hook for total? I've heard almost $20 trillion.
I haven't heard that many.
If you take the 11 that we already have and you add the 8 or 9 trillion that they have put on top of it, not true?
To tell you the truth, I was interested in getting that piece out, and I didn't.
All right.
I think
Hang on, I tell you what.
I think that it's anywhere between $9 and $15 trillion.
Oh. Well, that's no big deal, America.
Yeah, right.
Do you have time? You have to.
That's about that. 15 trillion is about the full GDP of America, by the way.
Do you have to
annual GDP?
Do you have to go anywhere?
No, I can stay here as long as it takes.
Hang on, we'll be right.